All right, let's do something a little different today. We're going to give a stock a full technical checkup. We'll look at its vital signs, we'll test its reflexes, and then we'll deliver a final prognosis. And the stock on the table? It's Bitfarms. Let's get started.
So who's our patient today? It's Bitfarms, ticker symbol BITF. At the time of this checkup, it's trading at $5.01. Let's consider this our baseline, the starting point for this whole diagnosis.
And wow, right off the bat, we get a huge number, an overall technical score of 78.10. Think of that like an overall health rating, right? On a scale of 1 to 100, 78 is, well, that's a very, very strong bullish signal. But what exactly goes into that score? Let's dig in and find out.
Okay, first things first. We've got to diagnose the strength of its underlying trend. This is kind of like checking the patient's core health, its vital signs. We need to see if the strength is just a flash in the pan or if it's a sign of real long-term vitality.
And to do that, we're going to start with a classic tool called the moving average. Now, this is just a perfect way to look past all that daily noise. Instead of getting bogged down in every little price jump or dip, it gives us this nice, smooth, clear line that shows us where the stock is really headed long-term.
And whoa, look at this data. The current price, $5 and a penny, is trading a whopping 240% above its 200-day simple moving average. That tells us the stock isn't just in an uptrend, it's in a seriously powerful, sustained one. So our first vital sign check, it comes back looking extremely healthy.
And it's not just one indicator saying this. Others are backing it up. We've got a trend strength score that's nearly 0.9 and a trend quality index over 78. Both of these point to the exact same conclusion. This is not weak, choppy movement. We're looking at a high-quality, really robust trend here.
And this is what I find really interesting. Look at this number, 58.03. This is the ADX, and it's an indicator that measures the power of a trend. Now, for context, anything over 25 is considered strong. So what's over 50? That's just exceptionally powerful. It's confirmation that this trend has some serious muscle behind it.
So, okay, the trend is strong. We've established that. But is there real conviction behind it? For our next test, we're going to check the stock's circulation, the flow of money, the trading interest, to see if traders are really, truly committed to this upward move.
And it looks like the answer is a pretty big yes. What we're looking at here is the relative volume. A value of 2.20 means that trading activity is more than double its recent average. This isn't some quiet little drift upwards. There's some intense market interest driving this thing forward.
And that story of strong interest just keeps going with the money flow index. This indicator, which some people call the volume-weighted RSI, just confirms that buying pressure is completely dominating right now. With a reading over 75, it is crystal clear that money is actively flowing into the stock, not trying to get out.
All right, so we've got a strong trend with heavy conviction. So far, so good. Now it's time for the reflex test. We're going to look at momentum to see how fast the stock is moving, and maybe more importantly, if it's showing any signs of getting tired, maybe a little overexerted.
And the results here are, well, they're pretty fascinating. The MACD is positive, so that shows us bullish momentum is active. The RSI is strong at 65, but, and this is crucial, it's not yet in that overbought red zone. But then you look at the stock RSI, which is a much more sensitive short-term indicator, and it's at 0. This kind of suggests that while the big picture trend is strong, the stock might be a little winded in the very short term, maybe due for a quick breather.
And that idea is really backed up by this, the linear regression analysis. Now, this is just a statistical tool that tries to predict a price trend. And the analysis shows the stock is trading way, way above its predicted path. On one hand, that's a sign of incredible strength, but it also acts as a little warning light that maybe, just maybe, the stock is a bit overextended right now.
So, after this pretty thorough checkup, what's our final prognosis? Well, the patient is in excellent health. We've got a strong trend, great circulation, solid reflexes. But it's also been running at a really demanding pace. Let's pull all this together and figure out what to watch for next.
Here it is, the price ladder with the key levels you're going to want to keep an eye on. Up above us, we have the ceiling at $5.24. That's the first big hurdle, the resistance. Down below, the floor is at $4.69, which is our first major support level. And then right smack in the middle, you've got the pivot point at $4.92. Think of that as the balance point for the short-term price action.
So this really brings us to two main scenarios. Let's start with the bullish case. If the stop can power through that 524 ceiling, its next logical target could be the 52-week high, all the way up at 660.
But on the flip side, the bearish case. If it stumbles and falls through that 469 floor, the next safety net might not show up until you get down around $4.06. The path it takes from here really depends entirely on which of these key levels breaks first.
So the final diagnosis is pretty clear. BITF is a technically robust stock. It's firing on almost all cylinders. But man, it has been on an incredible sprint. And that leaves us with the ultimate question, right? Does it have the endurance to keep running this marathon? Or is it sprinting straight into a wall of exhaustion? That is what we'll all be watching.